Hi, I'm Datuk Leong, the founder and CEO of Shanghai International.
Taking home merit is the sale by Shanghai International. I'm honored to have this award and this ceremony. Thanks to the team too. Thank you.
I'm Matthew James Kenley from IWG. We're the world's #1 provider of flexible workspace. We have a great partnership starting off with Shanghai International here in Malacca and in Malaysia.
My name is Jalil. I am running a company now. I'm the CEO of Melaka Hari Ini. It's a media company focusing on digital as well as print and social media. I used to be a CEO for one of the biggest publishing company in Malaysia, the New Straits Times Press, which includes the oldest newspaper in Malaysia, which is New Straits Times.
My name is Raita Yamonouchi. I'm the Managing Director of the Gaude Seri Berhad. Gaude is a real estate and design consulting firm from Japan, opened 35 years ago. Currently we have 9 branches across the world, including Europe, US, China and also ASEAN countries. We not only provide creative design, but we assist brands, developers to cross border to develop business into different markets. Thank you Shanghai International for having me participate in this CBWCB. I hope to see you in event soon.
Hi friends and clients of Shanghai. My name is Paul Chen. I've spent 21 years teaching in public universities, and during the last 37 years, I and a team of people have been managing Hub University. From our mission, which is to help people succeed in life and to live a life of significance.
Big round of applause to our speakers today. Right, before that, I would like to give you a quick introduction again to our panel speakers today. Out to my left here, we have the founder and CEO of Shanghai International, Dato Leong Seri. And we have online was the Dato Paul Chen, the co-founder and vice chancellor and president of Help University. We have Mr. Raita Yamonouchi, the managing director of Gaude Seri Berhad. And we have here today Dato Sri Jalil, the CEO of Melaka Hari Ini. Besides that, online, joining us all the way from Bali, we have Mr. Matthew Kenley, the IWG Head of Asia Pacific. And also joining us with us from Philippines, Mr. Lars Wittig, IWG Franchise Development Director. As we are all well aware, the pandemic caused many companies to accelerate their digitizations. While there are many challenges, and this has also opened new avenues for companies and businesses. So, my first question of today to Dato Leong.
Yes.
Dato, what are some of the ways this new digital era has helped your business? Can you give us an example?
Well, if we talked about all this pandemic, that what had happened before the closing of borders, we are doing property. It's called property tourism. But after the borders is closed, we actually focus a lot on our brandings so that we can shout throughout the whole world that we are still here. And we found a very good partner, which is IWG. And IWG is a virtual office. A virtual office is a superb platform for all of us, even when the borders are closed. So we have decided to be with IWG.
Yep, thank you, Dato. Matthew, can you hear me online?
I can indeed, and I would love to be coming to you from Bali, but I'm actually coming to you from Jakarta, Indonesia. But Bali would be great.
All right. Now, Matthew, let us proceed to the next question. Given the current situation that we are facing in this pandemic time, what kind of business or investment would you recommend to all our listeners today?
Well, you queued that up nicely for me. I'd definitely say a perfect time to invest would be in the sale there in Malacca. But if we're talking about general investment, I mean, if you look at our industry, if you look at co-working, flexible office space, virtual office, now is never a better time, when you were looking at what types of investments that your viewers and the viewers around the world should consider. But absolutely, I would say the sale, if we look at that development, if we look at the level of returns that development can give, it's definitely an attractive option, particularly as Malacca grows and continues to cement itself as a trading hub in Malaysia and in the ASEAN region.
Wow, definitely this is complementing Shanghai International and IWG, definitely, of course. So Dato Leong, with that said by Matthew, for brands looking to expand their business overseas, what is your advice? And is this a good time?
Yes, of course. A lot of people tell me that, hey, Dato Leong, let's do some business. Let's close the deal after the border is open. I said, no, do it today. Do it tomorrow. Do it now. Present tense. No tomorrow, because we can cross border without crossing border. We can still proceed what we need to do. Just like what I have been with IWG, what we did is like when we get together, we have a virtual office in Malacca, the sale, whereby we have the opportunity of the business opportunity, which is the ecosystem of the business opportunity is there. And therefore, we are inviting people all around the world to participate with us, and we help them to settle down here in Malacca, and therefore opening the window of investment to the government and bring investor into Malaysia before even the borders is open.
Yes, well said, Dato. Of course, doing the retail part too. Mr. Raita, I would like to know, do you think the e-commerce will take over the retail industry in this near future?
I would say yes and no to the question. Yeah, definitely e-commerce will take some portion of the conventional retail. Yeah, but of course, retail mall will survive. Yeah, retail mall also have a certain characteristics that e-commerce cannot provide, such as experience or interaction with people. So I would say retail mall will definitely survive.
Okay. Okay, I mean, Gade has been doing so well in consulting and giving out designs to shopping malls and consulting more than a decade of consultation to all over the world's shopping mall. What do you think about the future of shopping malls should look like? For example, do we need more space, better air circulation, or perhaps a good mix of indoors and outdoor retail mall? Can you give us some example?
I think the characteristic of the retail mall should depend on the location and strategy, also size. Yeah. So I think it also depends. But I think the necessary part of the future shopping mall will be having the flexibility to adapt to changing market demands, trends, and also technologies.
Oh, okay, okay. I think the shopping mall should also come with a lot of other malls and business offices, correct? And we can use all these business offices. We can also design it with the IWG. So, Mr. Lars, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wow, okay, thank you very much. So the next question, I would like to bring it to IWG, the future of work. Do you agree that flexible workspace is the future of work?
Oh yeah, I absolutely do. And actually we did already, obviously, before the COVID-19 crisis hit us. But there's no doubt that this lockdown where we cannot cross borders and we cannot even go to our regular offices, this has turned into the biggest flexible working experiment in history. And hybrid working from home, working from whenever, wherever, has really changed everything. Employers have learned to trust their employees working from other locations. Their productivity has been proven. And we now see a very big shift so that when we all can go back to work or can go back to normal, the new normal will be that we can work from other places than our traditional offices.
Okay, so we just signed a collaboration for Xingtai and IWG. Why did you make that decide to collaborate with Xingtai International to open flexible workspace in Malacca itself?
Well, to me, it is very obvious. First of all, we are a global company. That is why there's nobody in our industry that have a global network like we do. But you cannot be global without really being strong on a local basis. In Malaysia, we have nearly 40 locations, and we are otherwise in other pretty much all main cities, from Penang to Kota Kinabalu, from Johor Bahru to all of Greater Kuala Lumpur, from the CBD areas to the suburbs of Kuala Lumpur. But Malacca is a very, very strong ground zero business location for the Malaysia economy as well. And the best way for us to enter there is to do it with the strongest local partner that we could identify. And that obviously turned out to be Xingtai International.
Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Lars. And of course, it's time to sell a little bit of IWG. So I'd like to proceed next question to Matthew. Matthew, as the global leading flexible workspace providers, what sets you apart from your industry peers?
It's a great question. I think you might have it slightly the wrong way around, because Lars obviously supports the sales and I support the partnership and franchise development. But Lars's answer was superb and exactly what I would have said. So I'm going to try and do you justice here, Lars. What I would say is, and I know we've talked about it in over the segments, but IWG has the industry leading and the world's #1 platform. So 3,500 locations, 120 countries, 2.5 million members. We've just signed up another 300,000 members with NTT. Standard Charter, 95,000 members. So what that's showing is that companies are looking for what we call a sort of hub and spoke model, where they have one central office and then have flexibility for their members and their employees to work from anywhere in the world, as Lars mentioned before. So we have an industry leading platform. We've got an unrivaled network, and that's why these large companies, multinationals, come to us to expand and to diversify their office portfolio across the world.
Well said, Matthew. Well said, well said. And of course, with all these new companies and brandings coming up, we definitely need the power of media to make noise in the market. And today we have Dato Sri Jalil, the CEO of Malacca Hari ini, to give us some advice. So Dato Sri, can I ask you, since the pandemic has begun, the importance of social media marketing has grown. Consumers are now more relying on social media to identify products, collect information, evaluate and market purchases. What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Nicholas. I think I can sum up in one word. Whatever you do on social media, it has to be compelling. it has to be engaging with the audience, your target audience. I think this is key because we have out there thousands and millions of content. You have to stand out in the market with your content. If your content is not good, how much money you spend, people will not come. The key word is you need to build the traffic as well as have a strong and impactful content. And the engagements is in many ways. You can use a webinar and things for your business events. With the pandemic had taught us that, and with the I'm sure Shanghai and other property companies are also going very much into social media. But I guess the key thing is that it has to be, you make your presence felt via all the social media engagements. And I think finally you have to understand your customer needs and keep them updated with your latest information and news.
Understand.
And the announcement the other day by Shanghai and IWG, I think that has to be repeated from time to time, so that at least the messaging has the message is conveyed and reached to your target audience.
Thank you, Dato Sri. But what about your advice for entrepreneurs who are looking to utilize this social media platform to reach their audiences? What are your advices on that?
I think basically, first and foremost, you have to make sense of your business. And as I said earlier, you have to research your target audience, because not all you cannot be reaching to your masses. You have to know who are your buyers. In this case, the sale, you have to know who actually will be your potential buyers. It cannot be anybody on the street. Secondly, I think you have to have KPIs, establish your KPIs from the start. In your social media campaign, what you intend to achieve within certain timelines.
Thank you, Dato Sri. Yeah. And of course, with all those, we also need education. Okay, education plays a big part in entrepreneurs to promote and teach others. So, and we have online here today with Datuk Paul Chen, that he has recorded a video that has some advice for all audience today. So we turn to Dr. Paul.
My name is Paul Chen. I am an economist by training. I've spent my whole life in education because it is my conviction that I find it as a moral duty to help people to succeed in life and to live a life of significance through education. So in this way, education to me is more than just a business. But of course, many people look at education from a commercial viewpoint. My view is this: we need profit just as we need oxygen, blood, and water. But we must have an idealism. There must be a clear philosophy of why we are engaged in education. Because if ever there is to be a legacy, the legacy must be about the success of our graduates. During the last year or so, the pandemic has become a catalyst for changes. Many colleges have difficulties in getting numbers, in sustaining the cash flow. And therefore, we have to change the way we deliver our programs and even to reinvent ourselves. For Help University, we started our transformation more than a year ago to adapt to the 4.0 Industrial Revolution challenges. And fortunately, we have formed various task forces. For instance, we have the 4R transformation: The 4 R's mean that we reframe our vision and our direction. We restructure our processes and the alignment of our governance, infrastructure, and the digitalization of what we do. At the same time, we renew our culture, make it more vibrant, create a culture that is more adaptive and agile, and especially one that can cope with quick changes or crisis situations like the COVID-19. And of course, in particular, to introduce digital literacy and proficiency. And I think this challenge is good for us because online education helps us to cut down costs, helps us to scale up our access and reach worldwide, and we will be able to digitize a lot of the management activities and therefore reduce costs. And as we do so, we'll benefit our students and the families. So this is a very challenging time, and the education sector will never be the same again. But at HELP, we look at it as a great opportunity for improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato Paul Chen. And thank you again to Dato Leong, to Dato Sri Jalil, to Mr. Raita, to Matthew, and to Mr. Lars for joining us in our first session. And that concludes our session for today.